someone who does not need an introduction to most of us here in this place. With 22 years elected as a legislator, he represents the Middlesex Worcester District as a state senator. As I always say, we are extremely fortunate to have him represent us, especially during these critical times. He's also been instrumental in organizing this rally with the Acton Democratic Town Committee. Please join me in welcoming Senator Jamie Eldridge.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was going to point out dual county champion Acton Boxer Regional High School, class of '91. So I have 5 questions. First, are we going to stand against Donald Trump? Are we going to stand with democratic nations like the Ukraine? Are we going to fight for a more perfect union for our country? Are we going to protect our vulnerable neighbors? And are we going to oppose the oligarchy? Thank you so much for being here. This is an incredible turnout, and what I know is that there are residents from across Massachusetts who are deeply concerned about the direction of our country. This morning, I was in the basement of the Unitarian Church in Littleton, meeting with congregants deeply concerned about protecting their LGBTQ friends and family members, about protecting immigrants, about making sure that the federal support that makes Massachusetts such a special place continues to go on. And those conversations are happening in every home, every business, every community across Massachusetts. And I want to thank so many residents, not only just from Acton, but from all over my Senate district for being here today. Please give yourselves a hand. I want to thank the Acton Democratic Town Committee for organizing today's Stand for Democracy Rally for Unity and Justice. It's heartwarming and encouraging to see so many constituents, friends and activists in attendance, and I'm grateful for all the incredible work you have done, especially since January 17th of this year. I want to give a special thank you to Sahana Purwitt, the chairwoman of the Acton Democratic Town Committee. Please give her a hand. Members Bob Ferrara, Bob Van Meter, Stella Coe, Miriam Lezak, Sam Fieldman, Ellen Ballad, Adrian Hancock, Glenn Cody, and Matt Liebman for organizing today's rally. Thank you. You are part of what makes Acton and Massachusetts so special. And I'm so grateful for the work you're doing to not just fight back on the destruction of American institutions, the gutting of our federal workforce, and the weakening of our social safety net, but fighting for a more equitable society. If I look back in the past 8 years, Acton residents and people in every community across the Commonwealth have been active in fighting for a better life for all of our residents, on fully realizing our state constitution's declaration of a right to an excellent education, of protecting our immigrant neighbors from unjust laws, improving the quality of health care, reforming our criminal justice and public safety laws to combat racial injustice, and tackling the greatest existential threat to the world, climate change. Thank you for that work. I have seen the fight for these bold goals not just at rallies and demonstrations, whether gathering at the Common, at the Isaac Davis Monument in Acton Center, or the halls of the Massachusetts State House, but in the meeting rooms of libraries, schools, and coffee shops, in your homes and over social media, to fight for the true implementation of this preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Yet in just 6 weeks, we are witnessing a wholesale, unilateral guttering of justice, tranquility, general welfare, and liberty. The United States of America, one of the most optimistic nations in the world, a beacon of light for democracy for people around the world, now has a president who is turning away from the values that our nation should be striving for towards a more perfect union. A daily barrage of well-intentioned federal agencies nearly being eliminated, attacks on all Americans who are not wealthy, cisgender white males, bringing federal intimidation and interference into our daily lives, flooding the zone with chaos designed to break us into individual silos, and casting off alliances from a wide array of allies, from labor unions to research institutions, from emergency relief to places of refuge, from allied nations and increasingly our judicial system, is deeply anti-democratic and authoritarian, and ultimately seeks to revert America to some middle-aged era where every man, woman, and child are on their own, and a nation we are turning on each other. With full acknowledgement that Massachusetts, before we helped forge our nation, and as a Commonwealth since, has had its fits and starts on the historical scale of justice, equality, and true liberty, we are a state that has continued to strive for a better world. As Massachusetts Unitarian minister and abolitionist Theodore Parker wrote, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." Massachusetts has a special place in our nation's history for aspiring to expand that arc, in this region even more so. In May 1774, the British Parliament passed a law that made it illegal for colonists to hold town meetings and legislate their own affairs. In defiance of this law, the people of Acton held a series of town meetings where they elected a representative to the illegal provincial Congress. This act of resistance continues to be celebrated in Acton to this day, every October, as Crown Resistance Day. Channeling the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in his April 16, 1963 letter from a Birmingham jail, one has not only a legal but a moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Massachusetts residents in the 18th century initiated a series of acts of defiance and organized opposition that led to our state's constitution, which I believe needs to guide us at this moment in this deeply disturbing time. Quote, "The end of the institution, maintenance, and administration of a government is to secure the existence of the body politic, to protect it, and to furnish the individuals who compose it with the power of enjoying in safety and tranquility their natural rights and the blessings of life. And whenever these great objects are not obtained, the people have a right to alter the government and to take measures necessary for their safety, prosperity, and happiness." That is the foundation of the Massachusetts Constitution and the foundation of the U.S. Constitution. So how, I ask, do we return as a nation to pursuing these ideals? First of all, I want to lift up that because of the action you have taken in political and civic action to keep Massachusetts pursuing the ideals to realize this vision, and your elected officials, we are supporting migrants and immigrants, investing in education, protecting our LGBTQ neighbors, moving away from fossil fuels, and embracing clean energy, combating racial inequities, and ensuring that all residents have a roof over their heads. We are seeking to reduce the economic inequality that, upon deep reflection, is part of how some Americans came to back Donald Trump back into the Oval Office 8 years later, and we recognize we need to do so much more. But what are all of us, elected officials, residents, activists, and advocates, federal, state, and municipal workers, labor unions and small business owners, lawyers and social workers, government agencies, and all forms of media, going to do with our current federal government and American society? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I do not have all the answers. But looking out at all of you here just now, I remember that in 2008, less than 2 decades ago, we saw and participated in a watershed moment in our nation's history with the election of Barack Obama. And let's remember that many of the voters who cast their votes in 2024 for change also cast their vote for change in 2008 for the first major black American candidate for president, the son of an immigrant from Kenya. And during President Obama's tumultuous terms as our president, he said, "I believe that for all of our imperfections, we are full of decency and goodness, and that the forces that divide us are not as strong as those that unite us." As the Dalai Lama said, whether one is rich or poor, educated or illiterate, religious or non-believing, man or woman, black, white, or brown, we are all the same. Physically, emotionally, and mentally, we are all equal. We all share basic needs for food, shelter, safety, and love. We all aspire to happiness, and we all shun suffering. Each of us has hopes, worries, fears, and dreams. Each of us wants the best for our family and loved ones. We all experience pain when we suffer loss, and joy when we achieve what we seek. On this fundamental level, religion, ethnicity, culture, and language make no difference. Beyond the fights for keeping the protections we still have in our country, the belief that the forces of government do help people, the opposition to the breaking down of society for the selfish purposes of making the rich richer and instituting oligarchy, we must find a way to connect with those who have made different conclusions on how to achieve peace and security in our society. We must break through the skepticism and cynicism to ensure that all people can have a better life. And we must find a way to come together with the 99% of people who will see the quality of their life decline under this president to reach common ground over fear, solidarity over division and prejudice, and progress over regression. As your state senator, I am honored to tackle these challenges with you, remembering our nation's past crises at a time when every day seems to be more crushing than the next. Onward to the resistance, to organizing, to educating, and liberating all Americans from the idea that somehow we cannot continue to make progress in this great country for all. I'm honored to stand here with you. Let's continue to fight. Let's continue to resist. Thank you very much.